If you're a fan of large and powerful RC cars, then today's video is for you because we have the brand new Arrma Fireteam 6S BLX. This off-road fast attack style car is 1/7 scale in size and offers a unique oversized stance, realistic body styling, a mechanical handbrake, and speeds up to 60 miles an hour. Can it really? Well, today we find out, and so much more as we review the brand new Arrma Fireteam. When it comes to 6S bashers, Arrma has a lot. If you include the new Fireteam, there are 9 different 6S capable chassis platforms to choose from, and they're all configured slightly different for different behaviors. And it's no different with the Fireteam. As most of you already know, the Fireteam offers the biggest proportions of all the 6S BLX vehicles in terms of length and width, and arguably looks the best doing it. Not only with the realistic body, but with a tight body. And impressively, it's a top-mounted tight body, which I'll talk more about in a minute. Now, before we get all nitty-gritty with these details, let's just cover the basics. Like that the Fireteam is a fully assembled chassis with assembled and painted body, glued tires, and all the other work completed out of the box. All of the electronics are also included, installed, and ready to go. The only requirements are batteries, with the Fireteam requiring 4S or 6S power, and the SLT3 transmitter requires 4 AA's. So, what the heck is a Fireteam anyways? Well, it's a small military sub-unit of infantry, usually in a 4-man group, designed to provide tactical flexibility in various infantry operations. With the Fireteam vehicle, it's the car to help them do it, styled similarly to a fast attack military vehicle. The body is an open design built off of a full roll cage structure with several pre-painted Lexan panels attached with screws. The panels are also camo painted with 2 different color options, the white camo and the black camo that we have. The body comes off pretty easily too when you need it, with only 3 body clips, 1 in the front and 2 in the back, and the body lifts right up. The body itself is pretty large, about the same size as a 1/10 scale trail truck, but it's a lot lighter than it looks at about 897 grams or about 1.9 pounds. The body looks fantastic though, featuring those infantrymen with goggles and rifles sitting inside the interior that features many details to make it more realistic. Structurally, the body is solid though, with little flex. The only thing that can flex are the arms on the infantrymen to help absorb the impacts when you drive rather than break off, and they're actually screwed onto the torso under the body. Now when you mount the body, it has these little round rails that sit on the front and rear cradles on the chassis, which lock it into place once you put those body clips on. And once complete, this is one tight body. Now, what's a tight body, you ask? I consider a tight body any Lexan-based body that's been attached or secured by multiple points to eliminate the vibrations that Lexan makes when you're driving your car, because nothing screams, "This is a toy," like watching the body flap around. In contrast, when you watch a tight body car drive around, it looks and literally feels, when you're driving it, more like a real one-to-one experience. For example, this is the UDR, and it's a beautiful example of a tight body where it's secured at multiple points. But because of that, it's also a bottom-loaded RC car where you access everything underneath. This is the Losi Super Rockray, and it's another great example of a tight body car. But again, because of it, it's a bottom loader. So the point is that it's pretty impressive that the Fireteam body looks realistic, it's gonna behave realistic, and they pulled it all off while it being a top loader chassis. That's awesome. Of course, the chassis has regular body posts, so if you want to use other bodies, mounting them would be pretty easy. Speaking of the chassis, this thing is big. It's as long as the Arrma 1/8 scale Mojave, and it's as wide as an Arrma 1/8 scale Creighton. For a size comparison, far left is the 1/6 scale Losi Super Rockray, then the Fireteam, an 8 scale Creighton EXB, and lastly on the right is a 10th scale Big Rock 3S BLX. Now, the most similar car here would be that Arrma Creighton on the right of the Fireteam, and they're the same width, but the Creighton does have wider tires, so it does look wider, but it's not. The Fireteam is longer though. Now a few key features before we drive this beast. For one, the Fireteam uses an independent suspension with sway bars, all metal gears, 3 oil-filled gear differentials with 10K fluid front and rear, and 200K fluid in the center. All the shock bodies are anodized black instead of the traditional red, which aesthetically is a good move considering the shocks are visible from the outside of the body. All the shocks are big bore, filled with 1000 CST fluid, and they are extremely plush, tuned for surface thrashing. Now to steer the Fireteam, there is a metal geared S652 Spectrum servo with a metal servo horn installed. A second servo is used to control the new handbrake feature, which is the first of its kind for an off-road car, and it works flawlessly using this transmitter button. Now it's not a good idea to use that handbrake feature while you're on power, because it diffs out the center diff. But off power, the handbrake works really good, especially for making tight turns or, my favorite, setting up to blast a berm. Now for the motor and ESC, it's your standard Spectra Firma Smart Tech rated for up to 6S power, and there are 2 IC5 battery connectors which are also compatible with EC5. So you can either connect 2 3S batteries to make 6S, or use the included jumper and just use a single 6S battery. Now the Fireteam is also 4S compatible, so you could use 2 2Ss or a single 4-cell, but whatever the case, you need a 6-cell battery if you want to hit that top 60-mile-an-hour speed, in conjunction with changing the pinion gear to the included speed gearing. Now to test this, we first have the Fireteam completely bone stock, exactly the way it comes out of the box. And after a few passes using a 6-cell battery, we reached a top speed of 87 kilometers an hour or 54 miles per hour. Next, we remove the stock 12-tooth pinion gear that comes installed, and we put on that optional high-speed gearing that is included, and we tried again. This time, the Fireteam reached a top speed of 61 miles an hour. Now from here, we reinstalled the stock gearing to do some bashing in the dirt parking lot of our local track to see how far we can push this thing. Now, kind of interesting, the shape of the Fireteam body allows you to rock the vehicle back and forth until it's on its wheels. Sometimes. This is most likely abusive to the drivetrain, so it's not recommended, but it is possible.
Oh, that got my shin, dude.
Now right here, we're 100% on the throttle, and you notice what's happening? We're turning, which is only possible because we aren't wheeling right now, thanks to that long chassis. Next, we tried some of the jumps on our track, and the Fireteam feels really comfortable. If we had tires that were better suited for this dirt type and more practice for the driver, the Firestorm would be putting down some really quick laps. Now check out this dirt bowl we found in a field on the side of the road. We've never driven here before, and it's pretty dang amazing, but it's really chunky terrain. Thankfully, the Fireteam really doesn't care.
I think from that point.
Guys, if you haven't figured it out by now, the Fireteam is an absolute surface brute, and a realistic one at that. With the new width and length chassis proportions, the Fireteam is extremely stable in flat or chunky terrain, and almost no matter what you do, the car wants to be on all fours. That's why the Fireteam is the perfect vehicle for anyone with a wide open aggressive driving style where you want to keep it in longer and let off less. Guys, go check out the Fireteam with our link down below, and if you want more RC, check out these videos.